Welcome to another episode of Crimson Sin with Tamsin Leigh. I am your host, Tamsin Leigh. The 1996 murder of child beauty queen JonBenét Ramsey in Boulder, Colorado, has remained a perplexing case for investigators and amateur sleuths alike. On December 26, 1996, Boulder police received a frantic 911 call from JonBenét's mother, Patsy, reporting her 6-year-old daughter missing and claiming to have found a ransom note. Tragically, JonBenét's body was discovered in the family's basement just hours later, launching an investigation into her death. Over the decades since, numerous suspects have been considered. Some theories point to members of the Ramsey family, Patsy, John, or even their 9-year-old son Burke. Others suggest individuals connected to the family, such as their housekeeper, a local electrician, or a family friend who had recently interacted with JonBenét, dressed as Santa Claus. Some speculate that JonBenét's success in child beauty pageants may have attracted the attention of predators. Convicted sex offender Gary Oliva has been a suspect, and John Mark Karr, who fled the U.S. after being found with child pornography, even confessed to the murder in 2006, though his confession was later discredited. The question of JonBenét Ramsey's killer remains a chilling and enduring mystery. The following individuals have consistently been the focus of attention from both authorities and online sleuths. Prior to December 1996, the Ramsey family, John, Patsy, Burke, and JonBenét, appeared to have an idyllic life. John, a successful businessman, had sold his company for millions. The family resided in a comfortable home in Boulder, Colorado. Burke was reportedly doing well in school, and JonBenét was a rising star in the child beauty pageant world. However, their lives were irrevocably altered on the day after Christmas. Around 5:30 a.m. on December 26, 1996, Patsy Ramsey reportedly discovered a 2.5-page ransom note on the staircase, demanding $118,000 for JonBenét's safe return. Finding JonBenét's bed empty, Patsy immediately called 911. "There's a note left and our daughter's gone," she cried. "We just got up and she's not here. Oh my God, please, please send somebody." Police and family friends quickly arrived at the Ramsey home. However, there was no sign of JonBenét, and the kidnappers did not make contact between 8 and 10 a.m., as stipulated in the ransom note. By 10 a.m., most of the people had left, leaving Detective Linda Arndt with John and Patsy. At Arndt's suggestion, John Ramsey decided to search the basement again. It was there, he stated, that he found JonBenét's body. The 6-year-old had been bludgeoned and strangled, with duct tape covering her mouth and her arms bound. John carried his deceased daughter upstairs to his wife and the detective, and the investigation into JonBenét's murder began immediately. Detective Arndt and other investigators considered the Ramsey family prime suspects. In the wake of JonBenét's murder, suspicion fell heavily on her parents. JonBenét's body was discovered in their basement, found by her father after others had searched without success. The garrote around her neck was partially fashioned from one of Patsy's paintbrushes. The ransom note was written on paper found in their home using a pen from the house, and a handwriting expert from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation found similarities between the note's handwriting and Patsy's. Even the ransom amount, $118,000, matched John Ramsey's recent bonus. Furthermore, a grand jury sought to indict Patsy and John Ramsey in 1999 on charges of child abuse, alleging they unlawfully, knowingly, recklessly, and feloniously permitted a child to be unreasonably placed in a situation which posed a threat of injury to the child's life or health. Ultimately, a Boulder prosecutor disagreed with the grand jury, deeming the evidence against the Ramseys insufficient for trial. Other investigators also dispute the theory of parental involvement in JonBenét's death. Initially, upon joining the investigation, retired Detective Lou Smith believed the case against John and Patsy to be straightforward. However, he later became convinced that an open basement window, an unidentified footprint near JonBenét's body, and evidence of a stun gun being used on her pointed to an outside intruder, not her parents, as the killer. Another theory suggests a different kind of involvement by John and Patsy, that their 9-year-old son, Burke, accidentally killed JonBenét, and they subsequently covered it up. Despite Burke Ramsey's young age at the time of his sister's death, some suspect he may have been responsible, albeit unintentionally. The siblings reportedly had a difficult relationship. A 2016 Rolling Stone article described alleged scatological incidents involving Burke, including smearing feces in the family bathroom, JonBenét's bedroom, and possibly even her bed. Additionally, a family friend recalled Patsy recounting an incident where Burke had struck JonBenét in the head with a golf club about 18 months prior to her death. But did Burke kill his sister? The theory that Burke was JonBenét's killer is supported, for some, by the undigested pineapple found in JonBenét's stomach. While Patsy denied giving her children pineapple, a bowl of the fruit bearing Burke's fingerprints and Patsy's was found on the kitchen counter the following morning. Some suspect that Burke, who has acknowledged being awake that night playing with a Christmas present, prepared the pineapple as a late-night snack. The theory posits that JonBenét came downstairs while he was eating, and when she took a piece, he struck her in the head with an object, perhaps a flashlight. It's further suggested that when John and Patsy discovered what had happened, they staged the scene to resemble a botched kidnapping in order to protect Burke. Burke Ramsey and his parents have consistently and vehemently denied his involvement in JonBenét's death. Following the 2016 CBS docuseries, The Case of JonBenét Ramsey, which presented the theory of Burke's involvement, he sued the network for $750 million. The case was later settled. If not her parents or brother, then who killed JonBenét Ramsey? Another theory points to someone else with access to the Ramsey home, their housekeeper, Linda Hoffman-Pugh. Linda Hoffman-Pugh had been the Ramseys' housekeeper for over a year when JonBenét was murdered, though their relationship had been strained. Patsy Ramsey claimed that Hoffman-Pugh, facing financial difficulties, had requested a $2,000 loan from the family. Hoffman countered that Patsy was erratic, prone to mood swings, and exhibited what she perceived as multiple personalities. Furthermore, Hoffman-Pugh possessed a key to the Ramsey residence and was familiar with the family's routine. Investigators found duct tape in her home, matching that used on JonBenét. Another frequently mentioned suspect is Michael Helgoth, an electrician who often worked in the vicinity of the Ramsey home. Trip DeMuth, one of the original prosecutors on the case, told CNN that Helgoth presented several points of suspicion. He reportedly owned shoes matching the unidentified footprint found in the Ramsey basement, possessed a stun gun, and owned a hat bearing the letters SBTC, which matched letters used in the ransom note's signature. Perhaps, most notably, Helgoth died by suicide shortly after the Boulder District Attorney's Office announced in 1997 that they had narrowed down the list of suspects in the JonBenét case. Ollie Gray, the Ramseys' private investigator, agreed that Helgoth's death was suspicious, but for a different reason. He believed it didn't appear to be a suicide, noting that Helgoth was right-handed, yet the bullet's trajectory was from left to right. "I think it's worth following up on," Gray told Inside Edition in 2016. Just days before JonBenét's murder, the Ramseys hosted a Christmas party at their home. Their family friend Bill McReynolds played Santa Claus, while his wife Janet played Mrs. Claus. While seemingly innocent at the time, JonBenét's interactions with Santa were later scrutinized. Some allege that Bill had displayed an inappropriate interest in JonBenét. Rumors surfaced that he treasured a vial of glitter she had given him, and that he had chosen her as his special friend. He had even given her a card that read, "You will receive a special gift after Christmas." Statements like that led me to have some suspicion. What was going on between Santa Bill and JonBenét? Again, he is an individual who was involved with her, had an interest in her, was seen with her shortly before the murder, Prosecutor DeMuth told CNN. Furthermore, Bill and Janet McReynolds had a disturbing history related to abduction. Their own daughter had been abducted and later found in 1974, coincidentally on December 26th, the same day JonBenét's body was discovered. A few years after their daughter's abduction, Janet had written a play depicting a girl being molested, tortured, murdered, and left in a basement. Despite this, the couple cooperated with police, providing hair, handwriting samples, and blood. Ultimately, investigators found no conclusive link between the McReynolds and JonBenét Ramsey's murder. Many believe the answer to who killed JonBenét Ramsey lies in a darker realm. Since 1996, several pedophiles have been considered as suspects. In 2006, John Mark Karr, a former schoolteacher, then living in Thailand to avoid child pornography charges, claimed responsibility for JonBenét's murder. Karr had contacted University of Colorado Professor Michael Tracy, who was working on a documentary about the case. Their email exchanges became increasingly disturbing, prompting Tracy to alert the authorities. Karr was arrested, extradited to the United States, and confessed to the crime. He described JonBenét's death as an accident and expressed remorse, saying he was very sorry for what happened to JonBenét. Karr's confession was ultimately dismissed as no evidence connected him to the crime scene. DNA from the Ramsey house did not match his, and it appeared he was not even in Boulder at the time of the murder. He was considered a fame-seeking pedophile. Karr is now reportedly living as a woman named Alexis Reich. On the day of JonBenét's murder, December 26, 1996, Gary Oliva reportedly called a friend, Michael Vale, and made a disturbing confession. "I just heard a little girl." This confession is one of several reasons why some suspect Oliva in JonBenét's murder. Gary Oliva, a convicted sex offender who had previously sexually abused a 7-year-old girl in Oregon, was allegedly seen at a vigil outside the Ramsey home on the 1-year anniversary of JonBenét's murder. He also had a history of violence, having once attempted to strangle his own mother with a telephone cord. During a 2000 arrest on unrelated charges, police found a stun gun, a photo of JonBenét, and a poem about her in his backpack. While Oliva denied killing JonBenét and DNA evidence did not link him to the crime scene, his 2016 arrest on child pornography charges revealed 335 photos of JonBenét on his phone, in addition to nearly 700 images depicting the sexual abuse of children. In the years since Oliva's obsession with JonBenét appears to have intensified, and he has seemingly confessed to killing her accidentally, though he has never been charged with her murder. Therefore, the question of JonBenét Ramsey's killer remains unanswered. Many fear that her murder may never be definitively solved. What are your thoughts on today's case? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for listening and your support. Stay safe, and I will see you for the next episode.